Alright, fuck it, I'm going hog.
Finally, somebody plays a tank.
Alright, cool. I think the settings are good now. Sorry about that, viewers.
Alright.
Twitch chat is quiet today.
Because the Spryfox channel didn't tweet about it, right?
Oh, we didn't?
The Twitter account? I don't think they did.
Maybe our viewers are at GDC too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? That would be so stereotypical. Spryfox making games that game developers love.
I imagine that we didn't tweet. Dave usually tells us when he tweets. If he's not on the call already.
Oh, I could use some help. Oh, no. We should have the ability to give each other health, besides the healer.
Yeah. Like drop a heal potion, kind of.
Yeah.
What we could do is you could like damage these guys a little bit, and then I can finish them off.
Oh, nice.
And then maybe they'll. Oops, wrong way.
Game in the system, huh?
Yep. Oh right, I forgot
You
to
know,
kill
I
those
don't think
guys.
I've gotten any item drops today, have you?
Dude, you know, you're right.
I feel like I have seen item drops, though.
Okay. Well, let's keep an eye out for them. I'm pretty sure I've only had these 5 things all day.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I love how long it takes us to notice something as critical as this.
I noticed a while ago, actually.
Oh, really?
I don't remember why I didn't bring it up. I've now noticed again.
I thought it
Yeah,
was the luck of the
I
draw.
just got a shield. I just got a shield.
You got it? Okay, good.
But it seems like we should be getting a lot more.
Yeah, it seems like drop rates are kind of low right now.
Yep, same. I haven't seen anything.
Wow, what a weird bug.
Not even Steam or our health pickups.
Yeah, those are the ones we want, right? That was one of the changes you made to the dungeon, right?
Say what?
You made one of the changes you made to the dungeon was adding Steam and health pickups, right?
Yeah, I don't see how that would affect the overworld, though.
No, I'm sure that's not the cause. But it's just a change that we won't see.
Yeah.
Assuming that there's a bug. I mean, maybe what happened is that, like, somebody inadvertently changed one of the drop tables that is shared among all these units.
Possible, yeah. I could take a look at my commit from yesterday and see if that's the case.
Is it just the lowlands or also the beach?
Good question. I didn't spend too much time on the beach today compared to normal days.
Yeah, it seems like it's also the beach.
Oh, I died. Okay, so...
Actually, I see a health pickup and a shield. It was possible that I was just ignoring the items that came out since I didn't need them.
Yeah, it could be that we're just kind of getting unlucky. Because I just got a level 3 machine gun. I got a shield. I don't think the items are off, but
Okay.
Ryan might be onto something. I was
Yeah,
messing with loot stuff. I don't think I made any changes to the loot table, but could be possible.
It may have just been that I've ignored all the items that I didn't think were useful. Haven't seen enough useful items. If that's the case, that's on me.
Yeah, I think this is a real bug, so I'll look into this in a bit.
Is there something we could do, like... I know this isn't exactly what analytics is for, but if we keep numbers on number of items dropped, then we could take a look at it on the analytics server or the analytics visualization and say, hey, you know, percentage of items dropped from 70% to 20%. Maybe we should go look at something. I guess that's a question for Alex.
Yeah, that's totally what he uses analytics for, though. Like, we've definitely...
Yeah, but it's usually to look up business problems, not to look up gameplay bugs.
Yeah, totally. But I would love to see gameplay bugs. You know, for an MMO like Steambirds, we're not going to see bugs in kind of the same way that we would otherwise. You know, a lot of the bugs that we'll have are kind of economy type bugs, which will only be discoverable in analytics ways, really. I was going to do something. Okay. Well, okay, so let's continue doing shit.
Okay, so the dungeons are going to be dropping in the wild, but I don't think we want to rely on that right now. Let's go ahead and I'm going to try to spawn some chests.
Oh, because they're leveled up now. Okay. Which chest should I do?
Actually, that chest just exploded and didn't drop anything, so...
Hoist by Petard.
Yeah, these chests aren't dropping anything either.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna check the server logs and see if it's saying something about that. Okay. Well, it levels us up. That's not... Oh, can we cheat to drop stuff?
Yeah, that's going to take a little bit.
Yeah, that works. So it's just loot drops. What the fuck?
Yeah, it could be possible that I accidentally hit save when I shouldn't have. Should be easier to track down though. That's okay. You know, these dungeon changes aren't really all that obvious anyway. I tried the dungeons after I moved them around yesterday, and like you know, your concern was that like tearing up the dungeons would make them feel a lot different. Well, they did, but it wasn't. So, the enemies seemed just the same amount of killable, but the bullets definitely seemed deadlier. But they weren't like doubling the amount of damage or anything like that. It was still pretty reasonable. So it's like if you put the dungeon in the high mountains, then you got to be like really careful of bullets, and that's kind of to be expected at that elevation anyway, I think.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that's about what we expected.
Yeah, so it actually worked out pretty nicely. We'll probably have to make some adjustments to go along with that, but in the meantime, it felt pretty okay.
Cool. Well, glad you checked that out.
Well, since these loots aren't working and we can't test dungeons, I'm okay with wrapping this up and switching over to content creation. If you guys want to call it good on this one.
That sounds terrific. I mean, yeah, like we did what we accomplished we wanted to do. We verified that things are mostly working. I'll get some performance data in the analytics. Sorry that we're not able to playtest the dungeons.
That's okay.
But we'll do that soon.
Like honestly, like I said, they don't feel that different.
All right, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing you stream content creation.
Cool. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys later.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Let's see. Get all set up here. So today I will be doing a little bit of content stuff where I'll make some new stuff for an existing dungeon, and we'll also make some edits on another dungeon that I just started up. This should be interesting. Have you guys' chat? I have the chat window open in the corner, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to shoot away, and I'll answer them as they come. Sorry for the. It's gonna take a second to load the thing. Yeah, behind the scenes, this is what dungeons look like. It is very hard to look at all white text. It takes a lot of reading. But let's go over what one of these dungeons look like. So here is the space dungeon that we showed off last week. Basically, this is the one where you're flying around in an empty space, and then all of a sudden you'll get ambushed by a bunch of planes from different angles, and basically, yeah, you have to be careful because they just pop out of nowhere. There's also these units that are called blockers that shoot these laser walls on both sides. Part of the fun of making these dungeons is making enemies that you fight and making enemies that prevent you from moving forward, because you don't want to make these dungeons in a way that you can just fly through them without having to deal with anything. If you're a skilled fighter, a skilled pilot, you can weave through a lot of bullets and get past a lot of these things. But and that's why it's important to have units that prevent you from doing that. So this one has a structure called drunk, meaning the maze is kind of like a long path of rooms that are just kind of zigzagging in a seemingly random direction, in a seemingly random fashion. And it also has these branches that can break off and also reconnect with the original path, making little loops inside the dungeon, which I think are interesting. So I left the reconnect chance on for a little bit. I personally like my dungeons smaller, so I made the room sizes smaller and the hallways are also smaller as well, just so that each room feels more intimate and challenging. So these are the different units that come out. This dungeon is actually fairly simple. It's got the unit called the Sun Fox and the Sun Fox leaders, which are the blimps and the tiny fighter ships that come out and fight at you. I'll load some up in here in a second. Got the editor running. But I also made these things called Sun Fox traps, and what they do is essentially make it so that the units come out in different formations to attack you. Let's see if I can pull one up. There we go. So this is an invisible unit that comes after you and spawns a bunch of things the moment that it catches up to you. Oh yeah, this is what the enemies all look like. This one's actually a fairly short one because it's only a few page length long. Some of the other units get quite a bit longer depending on their complexity. Let me pull up a complex boss just to show you guys what that looks like. So, say the Dragon Snake is a unit that you guys saw in one of the playtests, where it's just a giant snake that flies around all over, and and draws these interesting patterns. But the reason that it actually can do that is because it has an invisible unit. I really like using invisible units that controls its movement by using a set of coordinates. So as you can see, these units can get quite a bit more complicated because they have a lot of things they do. All right. Hopefully things are working okay over here. Alright, let me see if I can actually give myself the loot to be able to get through this dungeon. Okay, I guess the loots are broken. We'll just go ahead and see how well we can do with the level 0 fighter plane. Yeah, this is, oh, actually this is the wrong dungeon. Yeah, this is the obstacle dungeon that we saw last week. And the whole theme for this one is actually not doing a lot of dog fighting, but actually just going through and doing a lot of bullet dodging. What we like to call micro dodging, actually. Micro dodging and macro dodging is just like this shmup concept, basically, where you're either dodging a giant collection of bullets or you're dodging each individual bullet at a time. Yeah, enough about that. Okay, so the obstacle dungeon needs a new boss. So let's go ahead and create one of those. My favorite unit in the obstacle dungeon is one called the Turbine, which is basically the one that looks like these little ticking time, the hand of the clock. Yeah, and what they do is just basically just lay down a line of bullets that don't move, and then when those disappear, it'll lay down another one, so that it looks like it's actually like rotating a bunch of bullets, but it's actually just laying down a bunch of still bullets in sequence. Create the illusion. So, since the theme of the dungeon is obstacles, I'm going to make the boss also an obstacle. I'm making a new unit called Turbine King. And yeah, usually we've created so many units now that we actually have a pretty good starting point for most types of units that we want. And so I'll just go back and take an old unit that I already have and make it battle ready, or using some additional code. So first, I'm gonna place all the names, all the instances of Turbine, the name Turbine King. The reason that this is useful is because I use the name of the unit in basically every single thing that it does. So whatever element that I need, I can create a new instance of each of them by doing like a collectively renaming all the instances of the name. So I could actually use the same guns that we defined in Turbine over here, but it tends to get messy, so we try to give each unit their own guns so that we don't have to constantly find where the gun was originally defined. In some cases we will do that, but it's usually like in a group setting where like a group leader will have all the gun information for all the different minions, just because it makes it a little easier. Okay, so Turbine King is now a thing. It raises hit point way up. Let's see. say go about 5,000. It might seem like a lot, but with 6 planes coming at it at once, it's not too bad. And I'm just going to make the art scale a little bigger. It feels like a bigger boss. Usually we'll just use like pre-existing art to make sure that, or we'll just use pre-existing art so that we can give the enemy a face in the meantime. But eventually, after having the temp art for a round, Brent will do an actual piece of art for that unit, which is always a happy moment, seeing the official look of the enemy when it's ready. Okay, that's set up. All right, let's take a look at these guns. Yeah, this is so. Each gun has 2 different elements. One is the gun itself, which is defined down here. These guns basically have, it defines all the different bullet movement here. Like it fires 3 bullets at a time. Each bullet lasts about 1/3 of a second. It doesn't move because it has 0 speed. It always fires accurately because it's 0 spread. Then we have the damage, the burst. Burst is set to 10 million here because I'm basically just not giving it. What burst is like, it's basically like the clip size. And why I've set it to 10 million here is because this unit doesn't really stop firing. If it fired 10 million clips, then it would go into cooldown, but that's also set to 0. So basically, this unit just never stops. Multi allows us to basically fire multiple shots at once, and like the multi-spread is like at the angle. So I wanted to do 5 different bullets shooting out evenly, so I put the multi-spread to 72 for this guy. And this is the type of bullet that comes out, and I use this one because it's a nice straight line to go with what we're doing. Oh, and then once you have these guns, you can basically put it on a mount that has a bunch of different properties also. Like you're able to sync guns together so that they work together if it's in a gun mount that is connected to another gun. And the reason then, and this is the fire mode rule, which basically allows us to have deep control over what kind of like rotation it has. Alright. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and just give this guy some stuff. Well, let's take a look at him first. Let's go to empty. Okay. Spawn Turbine King. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, it's got slow moving. This is the gun that we were looking at earlier that had the multi-spread of 72, which is why it has the 5 prongs. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's got the 5 lines coming out evenly spaced, and it's orbiting slowly because I gave it the sprinkler rule that rotates just a couple of degrees every time that it shoots. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually break it up. These guys all actually follow a similar rotation rule. Yeah, it's got 3 guns that basically fire a bullet here, here, and here, and that's what creates this long line of bullets. We might eventually do something different so that we're not just spamming bullets to create these lines, because it's a little bit of a hacky method. But in the meantime, it seems to work, so it's good. It works well enough for concepts anyway. So I'm going to take some of these negatives out, and I'm going to put some negatives in. Whoa, where are we going? What's happening? Two. Alright, let's see if this did what we wanted it to. I think it did. Alright, sweet. So as you can see, the bullets are now moving a new pattern. It's because I reversed the rotation on some of the bullets. So now these guys have little windows to fly through, but you also have to deal with an extra set of bullets going in and out. Okay, so this guy's starting to look pretty bossy. Alright, just to give him a little bit. See, actually, this unit has no movement behavior, which is why he looks so simple over here. He basically just sits there and he rotates 0 degrees and he doesn't do anything else except for fire his guns. His guns are basically doing all the work for him because they have cool shooting rules to them. But I'm going to change this up so he's rotating a little bit as he fires his bullets. Gotta set the min and max speed up so that he's actually able to move. Oh wait, no, never mind. The turn rate. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna add another set of guns to him. This time, a gun that aims and shoots at you. Here we're going to make a gun called Aim Gun, and we'll define his bullets here. Turbine King Aim Gun. Right, rate of fire. I want this guy to fire maybe like once a second, but he's going to fire 3 bullets at 120 degrees. So basically, what this does is you'll fire 1 bullet straight forward and then 2 bullets that way. This is a really nice element for. This is a really fun mechanic for this multiplayer shoot 'em up game, where basically one player might get the aggro of the boss, but the extra bullets that come out in the back make it so that you actually have to, even if you're not being focused on, you still have things to dodge, so that it's still challenging for everybody. So I'm going to make that. I'm going to make these bullets kind of small, or slow, and very annoyingly powerful. Let's see. I'm going to add 1, and they last forever. 10 seconds. Maybe that's a little harsh. I'll lower the fire speed so it's at 0.5. So this makes it so that a bullet, it means half a bullet is fired a second, meaning you'll only see a bullet every 2 seconds. It's kind of a weird analogy, but it works. This guy I'm actually going to give a burst. So he fires both multiples of 3, so I'm going to give him 15 burst with a cooldown of, you know what? Let's go with a cooldown of 5 seconds. So he will fire 5 sets of 3 bullets, and then he'll go into cooldown for 5 seconds before he starts firing again. And take the name of this gun and assign it to that aim gun gun mount that I made earlier. And I'm going to remove all these sprinkler rules and give him a different fire mode called aimed. Basically, this means that this gun mount kind of has a mind of its own, and if something comes near it, it can look at it and it can fire. So by default, it looks straightforward, but it can rotate at, say, 90 degrees a second. And the firing arc is an interesting thing because basically you can make it so that it'll only fire if you're in its little tiny fan of vision, or you can make it so that even if you're not directly in front of it, if it detects that you're going to come in front of the gun, it'll fire. That's always exciting. Okay, so and this gun isn't synced to anything, so it can actually behave on its own. All right, let's give this guy a shot. Fortunately, we have to start up the editor or start up the build every time we make edits. So I try to make a few edits at a time before I actually check anything, because it can get a little tedious looking at every single thing, or loading this up for every small change. Whoa! Oh god, it's moving. This is a little more challenging than I wanted it to be. That's interesting. All of its guns seem to be firing, so that's good. Oh, and I'm dead. Alright. So I screwed up when I gave this guy a max speed earlier. Let's make it so that he doesn't move, and let's lower that rotation. He's spinning around a little hard there. Now those extra bullets that are coming out are a little bit hard to spot, so I'm going to change into something else so that we can tell which bullets they are a little bit easier. And we're good to go. Let's give that guy another shot. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to shoot away in chat, and I'm happy to answer them. Ask me anything. Alright. Sweet. So those little throwing star looking guys are the shuriken bullets that I just defined a second ago. And I'm dead. Hey Brent. So that rotation is still throwing everything off a little bit. I do kind of like the idea of some of the blades moving in one direction faster than the other, so I'm going to keep that going though. Now let's add a little bit more variety to this guy too. Okay, so sometimes I'll just throw random numbers in there just to see what happens. So I'm going to change the turn rate of these guns to see how that feels. So we'll definitely see a lot more spread in what it's doing. And these shuriken bullets are kind of boring right now. Let's speed them up a little bit. 5, and oh, no, it's not a It's not a good time. Where was I? 225. I think it can fire a little more often too. Just lower the burst, so you just 3 bursts and then rest for 5 seconds. But the bursts come in quicker and deadlier. Yeah, just because usually I try to work on multiple units at once when I'm making these edits, just so that each time I boot this game, it's a little more worth it. But for the sake of this stream, I'm just going to concentrate on this one unit, just because it can get might get a little visually confusing looking at a bunch of units at once. Unless you guys want it, then just let me know. Alright, now we're seeing some pretty crazy spread going on here. How long will I be broadcasting? You know, I didn't really set an exact time, but I do. I actually also do support in QA for the company, so I have some other tasks that I need to get to eventually. So probably won't be doing this for a super long time, but maybe for another 15 minutes or so. But anyway, compared to what we started with, we got a pretty different unit, even though we're using a lot of the same code. So that's basically what it's like to make a new unit off of another unit. Making a new unit from scratch is a little bit more work. We used to do it a lot more, but there hasn't really been a need to do that so much since we have all these templates now. Alright, so last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some phases to this guy. We gotta give each boss like a couple of phases, so that it feels like the battle is progressing. So I'm gonna go ahead and this guy initial, say phase 2 and phase 3. The first phase always has to be, or the first state has to always be called initial, so that's why I'm not naming it phase 1. But you all know what it really is. Alright. Who do we have as health detection? You know what? Okay, so here's the initial state. I'm going to give it a transition condition. When the health is below 66%, it'll go on to phase 2. And then when the health is below 3, or health is below 33%, we'll go into phase 3. Alright, to make these phases interesting, I want to make each phase a little bit more difficult than the last. So I'm going to make it rotate a little bit faster and in opposite directions each phase, so that the outer lines that you have to dodge remain challenging. You know, while we're at it, could try to. Oh, we'll get to that in a bit. Okay. So this gun awake, gun asleep thing is how we turn guns on and off during the battle. So I'm making 2 more gun mounts for the aim gun, called aim gun 1 or 2 and 3. I'm going to make separate guns for these guys too. I'm going to copy that original gun that I made with the aim gun. Do that twice. Bunch these together so it's a little easier to tell what's going on. I put out one. Okay. Now, second phase, he's going to fire 5 bullets. 22 degrees. Oh, no, actually, let's go 4. 4 bullets at 90 degrees. He fires a burst of 12. And then 5 bullets, 2 degrees. He's got a burst of 15. I think I'm going to try to make the damage go up too. So first it's 2 damage, then it's 3 damage, then it's 4 damage. 4 is a pretty painful bullet, especially when you get to the later levels. The damage actually scales up and down depending on what tier it is. Right now I'm testing this guy out, so I have it at tier 0, which means that he's a fightable opponent at level 0. Oh, actually, for testing purposes, I'm going to lower his health to 100 so that I can get his health below 66 and 33%. Let's see here. Okay. Aim gun 1, aim gun 2, aim gun 3. Put a 1 here and 1 here just to be consistent. Now, gun sleep, gun sleep. Aim gun 1, aim gun 2, aim gun 3. Lots and lots of cutting and pasting. Yeah, I think I got this guy going. I'm going to do an extra experiment while I'm at it though. And king gun, turbine 3. I'm going to make a different kind of bullet and make it last a little longer. So we'll do 1. And we're not going to do, we're doing shuriken bullets for these guys too. Well, nah, let's make them different. Okay. Leisurely bullet. Always like the name of that bullet. But now, instead of having the little lines, we're going to see little dots, little trails of bullets in dot form. Pretty cool. Turbine King. Boom. Oh yeah. Now the bullets are looking funky. And shuriken bullets aren't coming out that thing. Just have to get pretty close for the aggro to kick in. Ah, it burns. It burns. Oh god, I died. I'd turn on God mode right now, but it is not really working as I expected. So hold on, I'm gonna turn off one of these guns just because it's getting in the way. Where's that gun? There he is. All right, I'm gonna comment this guy out. Oh yeah. Okay, should be a little easier to approach now. Okay, don't mess up this time, right? Alright, it's a little more manageable. So those previously non-threatening shuriken bullets are quite annoying now that I've raised their speed. Alright, so I lowered his health a little bit below 66%. Now his rotation went in the opposite direction and it's going a little bit faster. When we go close, shoots 4 bullets instead of 3. That's exciting. One thing I screwed up though, if I have 4 bullets, that means that if it's shooting 4 bullets and they're evenly spaced out, that means that there is no center bullet because I'm like, you know, the middle of 4 is blank. I don't know how to describe that better than him just now, but oh god, I'm dead. But right before I died, I think you guys saw that final phase and how angry he was. So yeah, I think that's about most of the stuff I wanted to show you. So if I wanted to set that guy as a boss at the end of, let's go ahead and get that guy's tier up to tier 3. Got, I'd say 4,500 health. Because he's not a super hard boss. He's just meant to be kind of annoying. And now the obstacle dungeon, where the turbine, home of the turbine. We're going to add the Turbine King as the boss. Bam! Now, if you finish the obstacle dungeon, you will see the Turbine King at the very end. Exciting stuff. That boss should be more fun actually inside of a closed space where you have to work within the walls to dodge all the bullets. So should be pretty fun. But yeah, I'll probably make more edits to him later on. But in the meantime, it's kind of the basics. If you guys don't have any more questions, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to give you guys a good 10 seconds or so to respond. I think that's about the lag that I'm seeing here. Yeah, because I'm rubbing my chin. Alright, you guys. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for some more Steambird stuff. Later.